Welcome back, YouTubers, to the next episode of How Not to Be a Noob, or How to Improve Your Gameplay on Battlefield 4. Today we're going to pick up where we left off on tips and tricks on how to be a better player. If you missed the first three videos, they're very important because they are foundational, and we will be referring to some of the concepts that we elaborated on in detail in the first three videos. So please look at the descriptions for the links so you can get caught up. And be sure to subscribe so you don't miss the next episode of How Not to Be a Noob, which I release every Wednesday, so be sure to check that out. Where we left off last week, we were going to start talking about developing situational awareness. And one of the biggest things you can do, and one of the best tools you can utilize in the Battlefield series, is the mini-map. The mini-map is going to reveal enemy positions whenever they fire a non-silenced weapon, or they have been spotted by your teammates. The minimap is crucial in protecting your flank as well as revealing positions so that you can flank your enemy. It will also be important if you're about to exit a building or to exit a bottleneck situation so that you can be able to quickly aim at those targets without having to hesitate or wait to figure out where they are. I've noticed a lot of players do not utilize this important tool, or at least it appears they don't. If you can learn how to use this tool, it will significantly improve your gameplay. One of the things you can do with the minimap is you can zoom in or out. I prefer to have it zoomed all the way in if I'm running infantry, so that I can be aware of enemies that are close up and high priority targets. But feel free to zoom in and zoom out as needed. That will make your gameplay more comfortable. The next thing that can help significantly improve your situational awareness is participating in communications. If you get in the habit of using the in-game squad chat to call out enemy positions, your squad mates will most likely engage in chat with you and therefore reveal enemy positions that you would not have known about otherwise. The minimap does not cover the entire map for you, so sometimes it is important to know about these if you have friendlies in other areas as well as just up close. It's just easier to do callouts because you can pay attention to your visuals as far as aiming down your sights and knowing where enemies are without having to reference the minimap. Also, good comms will call out specific and detailed areas where your enemies are instead of having to guess on the minimap if they're on the first, second, or third level. Comms will also reveal positions of enemies that aren't spotted on the minimap as well. So if you can join a clan or participate with some friends or even just participate in the squad chat in game, it will improve your gameplay. The third thing you can do, and what I've noticed a lot of players don't do, is they just run straight out there without looking left, looking right, without paying attention, checking their 6, which is behind you. One of the things you want to do to develop situational awareness is look around. Look at all the quadrants, left, right, front, back. Be aware of what's going on all around you, not just in front of you. This will also have a significant impact on your gameplay. The other thing you can do, and one of the things Battlefield does, is provide sounds for a lot of different things that are going on in the environment. One of the things that you can do to listen is commander orders. Some of the things the commander will reveal to you is an evac order. An evac order is when the commander lay down in a specific area a warning that enemy troops are heavily fortified in this position or moving to a specific position in good number that could be overwhelming whatever number of friendlies you have in that area. So you may want to pay attention to that and retreat from that area and regroup and wait for your reinforcements to come so that you can attack that area. Another thing to listen for are squad orders. A good squad leader will issue orders and he will say attack or defend this position, and you want to pay attention to your HUD, your heads-up display, to see which objective he has outlined for you to defend or attack. So by paying attention to that, you will be closer to your squad mates, and therefore in numbers you will be able to perform better and complete your mission or objective. Another thing to listen for are footsteps. By paying attention to footsteps, you could prevent yourself from being surprise attacked from behind. You can also identify enemy locations that are close to you by listening to footsteps and prevent yourself from getting knifed as well. One of the other things you want to be aware of are cruise missiles. Your friendly commander if he has not been attacked or hacked by the other enemy commander, will be able to tell you if a cruise missile is incoming. If a cruise missile is incoming, you want to be sure to go to an area of the map that cannot be hit by the cruise missile. This is kind of a tricky thing because if you think you're under a roof, that roof may not be protected necessarily by a cruise missile. You want to go into an indoor situation that you know for sure cannot be harmed by the incoming cruise missile, or to just leave an area or a hot zone that you are certain may be hit by a cruise missile. Be aware when your friendly commander calls out for an incoming cruise missile and take the appropriate act. Another thing, commander cues like incoming supply drop, incoming vehicle drop. You want to take a look up above you just to make sure that that supply crate isn't going to land on your head and kill you, or pay attention to your map so you know where these resources have been deployed. It may be closer to you than you think, and it may provide you with an excellent way to resupply or to heal. The next subject I wanted to cover was adjusting for recoil. One of the things that you can do is go to the test range, and what the test range will do for you is allow you to test fire your weapons. We covered this in detail in doing your homework, I think is episode 2, but learn to adjust for the recoil of your weapon. Depending on what attachment that you use, you will need to adjust for this so that you can hit your target with accuracy. If you're using the heavy barrel, you're going to need to drag your mouse down while you're firing to keep your weapon steady, because it will climb on you and you will miss your target. Another thing I wanted to talk about was prioritizing targets. This is very important. If you are engaging multiple hostiles and they are not aware of your presence, you want to prioritize. And what I mean by that is if there's 3 enemies nearby and one is facing your direction, you want to shoot him first. If there's 3 enemies and let's say none of them are facing you, you want to shoot at the one that's closest to you. Prioritize your targets. If you're in a chopper and there's a tank and a bunch of infantry and there's an attack heli nearby, the attack heli is going to be your greatest threat, so you want to prioritize engaging the attack. Prioritize. Learn to distinguish which enemies are the biggest threat to you and eliminate those first. Which brings me to my next point, isolate your targets and use corners. Let's say in our first example you have 3 enemies and you're coming around a corner. Well, what you want to do is ease your way around that corner to where you're only exposed to 1 enemy at a time, and therefore you're isolating them. Shoot that one target, and as you kill each target, move to the next, but make sure you're only exposed to 1 at a time. Manipulate that corner and angle to your advantage. As you progress through each one of eliminating those targets, you will find that it will be far more effective than just running in and trying to engage 3 enemies at once. The next thing I wanted to discuss is using nades or explosives to expose enemies behind cover. Now what I mean by cover, there's 2 types of cover in Battlefield. There's destructible cover and then there's non-destructible cover. You can use a nade to make an enemy expose himself behind non-explosive, non-destructible cover. If you throw the nade on, let's say he's behind a large box, and to the right of that box there's other cover that he can run to, but if the left of the box, if he comes out, he'll be fully exposed to your gunfire. So what you would want to do in that situation is throw the nade to the right side of the box that he's hiding behind to force him to go out to the left. Once he's exposed, you'll be able to fire at him, and so will your friendlies. Another thing to do is be aware of where explosive containers are. Sometimes there's explosive containers near non-destructible cover that you can explode to kill the enemies that are hiding behind it or around it. Identify these containers. You will be able to use these to your advantage. Another thing you can do is just destroy the cover. If he's behind a concrete barrier or behind a metal sheeting or inside a building behind a wall, destructible wall, go ahead and destroy it. Once you destroy that cover, he'll be exposed to friendlies. Well, he'll be easier to kill. So use nades, use the environment to expose enemy positions. Also, you want to use that mini-map to flank your enemy. Flanking your enemy is a great way to improve your gameplay. Whenever you can engage an enemy that isn't facing you, that is the preferred way to engage the enemy. He's going to have to leave what he's looking at and turn and face you, and what I mean by flanking as well is there's no cover between you and the enemy. If he's hiding behind a crate and he's engaging enemy forces, if you can come up on the side of that where he's completely exposed, you are going to have a far better chance of being able to kill that enemy. Which also brings me to my next point, protect your flank. If you are defending a position, make sure to continually check your flank or to have a teammate designated to protecting your flank and to call out enemies that are attacking your flank so that you can engage them and protect yourself in that position. So flanking and protecting your flank are two very important points that you'll want to do in situational awareness to improve your gameplay. Now that brings us to a conclusion for today. Be sure to subscribe, upper right hand corner, smiley face, and go ahead and leave some comments or questions. If you have any suggestions of what you'd like to for content that you'd like for me to cover, go ahead and leave that in there. And until next time, see ya!